Okay, I need you to listen carefully. So, there's two main characters, there's three, the sheep, us, but there's two main characters, the shepherd and the thief. So, who is more likely to be telling you, hey, you need to go to Mass if you want to get to heaven, because that's all important? Was that the shepherd or the thief? Don't answer too quick. Don't answer too quick, because, I got another homily to give. You got to listen to the whole thing. So, or who's the one that's more likely to say, here's why you need to go to Mass. You need to go to Mass because you can't do what I'm telling you need to do, what I'm asking you to do, unless you come and get food for the journey. So which one? Again, don't answer. So let me give you a little bit of a story to kind of put all this in perspective, right? A shepherd comes along and says, I want to be real clear about something. The number one commandment is love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's the number one thing. Yeah, got some other 10 commandments, and those 10 commandments tend to tell you how to do that or how not to do that. For example, honor your father and mother. That's a way to do that, right? Thou shalt not kill. That means that is not loving your neighbor, okay? Real clear, right? Okay, so then the next question people are going to have, so I'm going to answer that too, is, well, exactly who is my neighbor? So he tells this, story about the Good Samaritan, and it shows everybody's our neighbor, including people of different faiths, including people who wish to harm us, right? That's our neighbor. Now he says, look, I want to be also real clear. I am the way. I am the way. Follow me, do what I do, and you will see and experience amazing things. So he does, people start paying attention, right? So he says, first thing we're going to do is go feed people who are hungry. We're going to heal people who are sick. We're going to go visit lonely people, right? That's what I'm going to do, and if you're going to follow me, that's what you're to do. Goes on, finally gets to, near the end of his story, and he says, now look, when I'm saying go love your neighbor, give to your neighbor, I'm talking about there is nothing too big, nothing too small that you should do. Watch. I wash your feet, your stinky, smelly feet. There is no service too small, too menial for you to do in service of your neighbor. Nothing, right? That's what I did, and that's what I'm calling you to do. But look, I know you're just going to forget. So I'm going to give you this. I break this bread open to show you that I am giving my entire life for you, for me, and you are to do the same. You are to break open your life and give to your neighbor and hold nothing back. And it's going to take more than just memory. You're going to need something else. So take this bread and eat it. And this will give you the food to lay aside your own life in service of the others. He said, follow me. If you do, you're going to see some amazing things. And so he takes off, and they arrest him to kill him. Somebody starts fighting. He says, don't fight. We don't fight, right? And, of course, he dies. And then 3 days later, he's alive. And people are amazed. People are amazed. And so they said, you know what, the shepherd is right. And they start following him. They start selling their possessions and giving it to the poor. They start living in community. They are following the shepherd, and it's an amazing life, and they are finding experiences and love like they've never experienced before. But then the thief looks, and he's really kind of a bit horrified. If this keeps going, they're not going to even want to be soldiers anymore. They're not going to want to go fight and kill, because that's against the third commandment. They're not even going to want to do that. And the emperors are saying, that's right. we're having a hard time getting people to go fight and kill. And so the thief says, let me tell you something. Let me tell you. You know, those commandments are really good. Loving your neighbor is really, really good. But, you know, if somebody is disrespecting God or, you know, hurting your family, you know, that do not kill, that's okay. Like, it's do not kill unless they're not hurting God or they're not hurting me or your neighbor. Then it's okay to kill. Maybe you ought to think about that. So the emperors sit there and they think. You know, it takes them a while. And they see that these Christians, they have such dedication to faith that they don't even fight when they go to be killed. He said, if we only had that, if we only had that kind of dedication in our legions, we could conquer the world. And so the idea comes slowly over a long period of time. Hey, we're not the Roman Empire anymore. We are the Christian Roman Empire, right? We are the Holy Roman Empire. And now when you join our legions, you are going fight for God. You kill in God's name. And that's a good thing, right? And people said, I don't know. He said, yeah, it is. Look, how could God be upset with you if you're fighting for him? And so, the thief throws in a little bit more. You know, he's right. God is going to be happy with you, right? And the more you fight and kill in his name, the quicker it is you get to heaven, right? The quicker it is to get to, and you know what? If somebody can't physically fight and kill in his name, send some money so other people can go fight and kill in his name. And by the time of the Crusades, it's common knowledge that if you go fight and kill in God's name, killing those people of different faiths, you go straight to heaven. You don't have to stop in purgatory there. And if you gave money, you also go straight. And so, he's making the thief is making a lot of progress. But then he sees the next threat. And he sees people coming to communion, to Mass, to communion. And he says, what am I going to do about that? If they remember what Jesus said, you're to give everything for your neighbor, that you hold nothing back, they're going to start pay attention to the commandments again. So he comes up with this great idea. He says, look, are you even paying attention to what's going on? You just received God. You just received Jesus into your body. You have God within you, right? You have God within you. And, if you were to die right now, bam, straight to heaven, right? That's the goal, to get to heaven, right? Go straight to heaven. And he knows we're going to mess up. So he says, do that as much as you can, right? Because God forbid you receive him and you go out and sin, all of that's for nothing. And again, over a long period of time, people start buying in. It's about how many times you receive communion. And we forget why. And Jesus saw this coming. In Matthew 7, he says, look, there's a group of people who've died, and they've done great and amazing things in his name. They've preached in his name. They've healed in his name. And he says, no heaven for you. You did this for you to get to heaven. You didn't do this for my sheep. And then you have this group over on the side saying, well, we're toast because we didn't do that. All we did was feed people who we saw were hungry. All we did was, visit the lonely. And Jesus looks over and says, yeah, that was me you fed. That was me that you healed. You can come in. So the question I think we have to deal with every week is, why are we coming to Mass? Are we coming to collect enough Eucharist inside to go straight to heaven? Or are we coming to remember that we're following the shepherd and we are willing to give up everything, even our life, for the good of others. And remember that we can't do that on our own. And that's why we need food to help us do that.